Hi, I'm Jeff Dixon. Welcome once again to Conspiracy Cases, where we are looking at the phenomena, the conspiracy that people are simply evaporating in Japan. That's right, people, 100,000 people a year since the mid-90s simply disappear without a trace. The belief is they are evaporating, never to be seen again. Go back and listen to episode 1 as we set this up, because this is the second in this series where we are thinking about evaporating people. And while the case may sound perplexing and mysterious, and it is, let's look at some evidence, statistical evidence to begin with. Japan has reported increasing numbers of missing persons through the years. Many cases, it has been found, really do deal with mental health issues and the economic pressures of living in Japanese culture. And so in other words, people are trying to escape some economic decisions or penalties, and so they simply evaporate. Or others with mental health issues are making choices to do some harm to themselves and disappear. According to the National Police Agency, thousands go missing annually. A significant portion, though, alarmingly, of these people who go missing are young adults. In interviews with the families of missing individuals, we find a lot of stories that reveal emotional turmoil, which lends itself to suggest that maybe this isn't a conspiracy of anything supernatural or evil at all. It is just people making a choice to disappear due to overwhelming stress, or, as we introduced in the first episode, shame. Do people ever resurface? Eventually, some do, yes. And then that means they didn't evaporate, they just were a missing person. And so that's not exactly what we're talking about. Journalists and researchers have conducted in-depth studies, and they find a troubling correlation between people who evaporate and what they call urban loneliness. It is a concept that they have given a name to, where individuals isolate themselves to avoid the pressures of society. And while evaporating people is intriguing, don't underestimate the societal challenges that they are battling. A shadow economy has emerged to service those who want never to be found. And believe it or not, when people want to make their disappearance look like abductions, their homes look like they've been robbed, no paper trail or financial transactions to track them down. In other words, there is now a market in Japan to help you evaporate. One of the companies is called Nighttime Movers. And it was started by a man named Shao Hattori. He ran a legitimate moving company until late one night in a karaoke bar. A woman asked Hattori if he could arrange for her to disappear along with all of her furniture. She said that she could not stand or sustain her husband's debts, and they were ruining her life. Hattori charged $3,400 for her midnight move. His clientele has been vast, from housewives who shop their families into debt, to women whose husbands had left them, to university students who were sick of doing chores in their dorms and weren't going to be able to graduate. When shame comes along, it motivates a Japanese citizen to vanish. And when that happens, they disappear. But the boomerang effect that it has on their families is huge. And often what they are discovering is that people who evaporate never actually are looked for by the police because the family refuses to officially report it. Those families who do share it have created a support group called the Support of Families of Missing People, who keeps all details of the clients and the stories behind the missing person private. If you were looking to be a part of this society, the address is hard to find. The headquarters actually is one small room with one desk, and that's it. And the organization is staffed with detectives, often with people who have evaporated in their own families. And they take on these cases looking and trying to track down those who have disappeared pro bono. On the average, they take on 300 cases a year, and the work is difficult because 100,000 people a year seem to evaporate or disappear in Japan. Unlike the United States, there is no national database officially for missing people in Japan. There are no documents or identifiers, such as our Social Security numbers, that can be used to track a person once they begin traveling within the country. It's against the law, believe it or not, for the police to access ATM transactions. It's against the law in Japan for police to be able to access financial records. And so as a result, you have that perfect mix. People who want to disappear and do. People who seem to just drop off the grid and evaporate into nothingness. People who are desperate to find their lost loved ones who are looking. And organizations that set up and help make evaporations happen. And organizations that set up that seek to find those who have evaporated outside of legal circles. In other words, evaporating people has become an industry in Japan. So, is there a conspiracy? Is there a cover-up? Is there some other reason that these people are disappearing, or is it simply that they are just dropping out of sight, never to be found again of their own free will, their own volition? You've heard the evidence. Chances are, if you process it, it is a combination of all of the above. There's no great alien conspiracy. There's no evil force at work. There's no great swell of a reason that you can find for all of these missing people. The thing they have in common is they simply are no more. And so we're going to talk about the spiritual implications of that in our third and final episode as we continue to crack the conspiracy case of the evaporating people in Japan.